The other day, I was on Reddit and I found this news that caught my attention. More than 60% of Mexican people don't have any savings to retire. More than 60%! I started to read the comments on this post and I started to have mixed feelings about this. I couldn't stop thinking of my own experiences, my behavior, and how this post is a reflection of the society I grew up in. I will also tell you my opinion about these statements that my Mexican fellas are doing here. So stay tuned until the end of this video and make sure to subscribe to keep receiving more videos like this, to keep watching more videos like this so you know more about the Mexican society. I'm going to start with this comment. This guy is saying, every time it's very difficult to save with so low salaries because the prices keep rising. To be able to understand more of what this guy is saying, what is a normal salary in Mexico? What is the inflation rate in Mexico? At the end of the last month in September of this year, 2022, was of 8.7%. In Mexico, people who earn 5,200 pesos per month, or around $2.60, represents 33% of the employed population in Mexico. Around 61% of the population in Mexico earn 11,000 pesos, which is 550 US dollars, more or less. If a person makes this amount of money, this person is considered part of the lower class in Mexico, according to the INEGI. INEGI is the organization responsible for regulating and coordinating the national system of statistics. The same organization is saying that if a person earns 77,000 pesos per month, or around probably 3,500 US dollars, that person is considered part of the upper class in Mexico. The same organization is also saying that only 1% of the population in Mexico earn that amount of money. But it's also true that the prices have increased considerably. Whenever I go to the market or the supermarket, I see how my money flies and I just buy so little. And this is not only my case. My friends, my family are talking about the same issue. Rents are also expensive if a person is living in a cosmopolitan city. And there are a lot of people who need to live in those cities because usually the good jobs are in the cosmopolitan cities. This was my case. When I first started working, I started living in Mexico City because Mexico City was the city that had jobs that I was looking for according to my degree. My degree was international business or international commerce, so of course I wouldn't find job in my town or in a small city like Tula. You probably know that I'm a Spanish teacher and I'm helping people from all over the world to learn about this beautiful language. But they don't only learn about Spanish, they are also immersed into the culture. Many of these people are already living in Mexico or they have visited Mexico and they've had such an incredible experience because they were able to meet people here, they can communicate better with their friends, or they can simply understand what's happening in their surroundings. In these virtual courses, you're going to start speaking Spanish from the first class. Even though if you don't want to come to Mexico, maybe you've been thinking that you want to learn a language. Well, I'm very sure that you are going to enjoy these courses because you'll get a step-by-step guide to reach your goal. You'll also have the opportunity to meet Mexican people, your teachers are Mexican, and people from all over the world, your classmates. So I hope to see you in my courses. And remember, don't just survive, thrive in Spanish. I was lucky enough to have a degree and to find a job according to my abilities. And I'm saying I was lucky enough because I could see my mother was working so hard when I was growing up, so my grandmother would take care of me. Then I was so lucky enough that when I was studying the university, I didn't need to work. There were a lot of people who were working and studying at the same time, and I bet it was very difficult for them to study and work, of course. I started to work in Mexico City, and I've said this before. In my first job, I was earning $300 per month. At that time, I'm talking about probably 10 years ago, the rents were so expensive for a salary of $300, so I needed to commute a long time to be able to get to my job. I knew I needed to do it because this was my first job, so I needed to have a little bit of more experience to be able to earn more money. And I bet this is the situation of many people around the world, of course. Finally, after some months, I was able to find another job, and that job was in a more central area, so I didn't need to commute a lot, and my salary increased as well. Now I was earning $800. After all that effort, I felt like I could finally spend my money on whatever I want. All of a sudden, the banks started to offer me credit cards, and I felt like I deserved them. So I started to get credit cards. Actually, I think I got my first credit card when I was studying at the university, when I didn't have any income. I don't know why. That was a huge mistake because everything was so easy for me at that time. I didn't know how to manage and save money. So I started to spend money as if my credit cards were a gift, money that I didn't need to pay afterwards. And considering that their interest rates were and are super high. Let me show you this example with BBVA. This credit card has an annual interest rate of 72% plus VAT. This is what happened. I was earning $800 per month, more or less, plus debts that I needed to pay. At that time, starting my career, I already had debts. I felt like a slave. And probably you're thinking, well, that is your fault. And probably you are right. Actually, not probably, you are right. But to be able to get to my point, I think that I need to explain the external factors that exist in Mexico. These factors probably don't help people who are just earning $250 per month or even $500 per month. Apart from that, they have to pay their taxes. Then they don't see that their taxes are doing something good in the society because the government is not doing probably their job. When we see on the news that there are a lot of embezzlement of public money, of course we get angry, we get disappointed, and we feel like the government is stealing our money. But let me read this comment on Reddit that a guy is saying, I pay per month near of 8,000 pesos on taxes, which is $400. What I don't like, or the horrible thing about this, is that the government doesn't use the money on helping to whom is going to take advantage of this money. It goes into salaries of a lot of wealthy people or of a lot of politicians and programs that are not well planned. My plan to retire is to cancel my subscription to Breathe at 50 years old. We can see that there's definitely a problem in Mexico if we think about this, and it's very scary. I've seen old people working as a grocery store packers in the supermarkets, and they are just basically there when I feel They should be resting at home. I don't know if those people are getting a salary or if they are just living from tips that people give them. I wouldn't like to be in that situation. Don't they have a pension or something like that? The minimum amount of a pension per month is $250 plus Pensión del Bienestar, which is a program that this government developed that every 2 months the old people receive 3,850 pesos every 2 months. I mean, almost $200 every 2 months. The culture in Mexico shows that if you're old, you are expected to be taken care by your children and live in their home. In that way, all the expenses are split. With all those expenses, they buy the groceries, they eat together. What do you think about this? Do you like this idea? Is there any disadvantage? Is it always cool? Let me know your comments. I think we can get good and interesting comments about this situation. If a Mexican person studies at a university, it's more likely that they are going to find a job. On average, probably they're going to earn 15,000 pesos. That's not weird. And then with experience, with years, they can even go to 20,000 pesos, which is $1,000, or even 30,000 pesos, $1,500, which from my point of view, that is a good salary. My friends who earn that amount of money are usually in a high position. They are like managers or something like that. In 2019, I quit my job, and at that time I was earning more or less 24,000 Mexican pesos, which is around 1,200 US dollars, which let me say that that is a good salary to live well in Mexico. You have all your needs covered. You can even travel around Mexico or even other countries because you can get other benefits, you can get vacations paid, you get more benefits, and you can do it well if you know how to organize your money and save money. If you would like to know more about the benefits in Mexico, I'm going to leave the link here so you can check them. I think you would find that video very interesting to watch. If I make that amount of money, 20,000 pesos, 30,000 pesos, and I don't have anything saved at the end of the month, it's not because of the external factors. It's because of me. I believe that if I complain, I'm making excuses. And this is what I found interesting on Reddit. On Reddit, nobody mentioned that. Nobody said, oh, because probably we don't save. Everybody was blaming the government, the external factors, the inflation, the cost of living, which all those factors are true as well. But what about ourselves? What are we doing to save money? I don't believe that all these people who are commenting on this post on Reddit are people who are just making $250 or even $500 per month. I was earning 16,000 pesos or $800 per month when I was living in Mexico City. And I already told you that I was in a lot of debt. But I also want to mention some things that I could see, some patterns that I don't only did. All the people in my environment used to do it too. And it's appearance. I was working in Mexico City in a very expensive area, which is Polanco. A lot of people were dressed up super well. They would bring expensive purse, expensive handbags, expensive shoes, iPhones. So I started to buy my iPhone. I started to buy expensive handbags or purse. I started to go to expensive restaurants because those social situations were very common to happen in expensive restaurants. And I couldn't say no because no. If I say no, they are going to think that I don't have money. which I didn't have money. I was earning only $800 per month. Of course, I couldn't be spending all my money as if I was rich. I was so scared. I didn't want people to find out that I didn't have enough money, that I wasn't cool enough. At the end of the month, I didn't have any money. And then I would receive my salary again, and it was like a cycle. I started to think, maybe this is life. I'm not going to get out of here, never. And it wasn't only me, it was the people who surrounded me as well, because I already knew how much they were earning too. So yes, the external factors don't help, definitely don't help. And I agree with all those people who are saying everything about the social situations or the situations that are happening in Mexico, but I believe that there is a problem of saving money. I was 23 years old, 24 years old, and I was already a slave. And now with social media is worse. I've been thinking a lot about that. I am a person who likes to be on social media. My work, my job is all about social media. I see every day people showing up the places where they go. I do it too. The fancy restaurants where they go, the expensive things that they buy. And that is a huge problem, because people who are seeing from the other side of the phone are thinking, wow, they are so lucky, they are so happy because they are buying. How do they have that money? And then we start comparing ourselves, and that could be very dangerous. Another cultural thing that happens in Mexico is padrinos. If your best friend is going to celebrate his daughter's 15 years old and he asks you to be their padrino, the padrino of flowers, of cake, or food, or of drinks, it depends on him. It means that you need to pay for that cake or for that food, or you need to bring the flowers. And it's normally not cheap, because you know that the parties in Mexico are huge celebrations. So you're paying a huge amount of money in a party that's not yours. And then the system is that when you're going to celebrate another party, when you have another celebration, you can ask your friend to be your padrino, so he can, I don't know, bring the food or whatever you ask him or you ask them to bring or to spend on. And that's a cycle that many people cannot escape in their life. In my family, that tradition wasn't very strong, or wasn't strong. My grandmother didn't believe in that, so I don't have that tradition very attached to me, so I don't do it, and it's very easy to say no in those situations. If you're a Mexican person and if you're watching this video, please let me know what you think about this. The last job that I have, I told you that I was earning around 24,000 pesos or $1,200, which I already told you that is a good salary to live in Mexico well. But that wasn't my situation, because, as I already said as well, I was in a lot of debt and I needed to pay my debts. I wanted to escape of my own slavery, so I wanted to be free, basically. So I committed myself. I can understand that everything is getting very expensive, but how much money do we need to feel that that the money is going to solve our problems? If we don't change our mind, we are going to still spending our money on nothing, and we won't escape from that situation. After I quit my job in an office, I went to Vietnam, and I had the opportunity I have time to develop my own business. And I know that not many people have that time, because they are working all day and then they don't want to develop a business, or they don't want to have a side hustle, and that's completely normal. I understand that. So that's why I say that I was very lucky. It took me a while to be honest with myself and to be responsible of my own situation. it's still taking me a while to learn that we're responsible of our own life again, and that we need to learn of how to improve our situation. I've been learning that very recently, and I'm very surprised how being responsible of myself can change even my finances. I'm not saying that I have my life solved and now I live super well and I know everything. At the end, this is a pattern that I've been having for a long time and I'm still struggling. But at least I'm aware of this pattern. And if you're a Mexican watching this video, I would love to hear your thoughts too. Do you agree? And thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a like, leave a comment. I would love to hear your opinion. I would love to hear what you think about this.